Hello, everyone. My name is Coach Devin Buchanan, founder and executive director of the Focus Youth Network, and welcome to Youth Uncut. Youth Uncut is a show created for youth to have a voice and to discuss the things that mean most to them. Today, I'm excited to have some of our mentees on to discuss a very important topic, and that is it important to have the ambition or the ability to succeed in your life? To my right, I'd like to introduce, we have Ricardo, who is an 11th grader in Philadelphia. We have Sadia, who is an 11th grader in Philadelphia. We have Yasmin, who is a 6th grader in Philadelphia. And we have Genesis, who I believe is also a 6th grader, is a 6th grader in Philadelphia. And so I'm excited to have them on today, honestly, as a representation of the youth in our city and really hear their opinions on, is it more important to have the ambition to succeed or the ability? Or if you really want to think of it, the skill or the will to succeed? And so I'm going to turn it to you guys and really just start this conversation and just take a poll first. Do you think it's more important in your life to wake up every day with the will to succeed, AKA ambition, or with the skill to succeed, AKA ability? Is there anyone who wants to take this question on first? And when you do, I need you to defend your answer. Is there anyone who wants to go first?
I think I will. First.
Ricardo, you go first. Make sure you speak up too so everybody can hear you.
All right. I feel personally it's the ambition, because you can have the skill of anything, but if you don't really want to do it or you don't feel motivated to do it, then you probably won't do it. So in the sense of succeeding, if you don't have the drive to succeed in yourself, it doesn't matter if you have the skill because you won't use the skill.
Okay. So I heard you talk about motivation, right? And I heard you talk about motivation. In our previous episode, we had talked about a couple different types of motivation. And I'm gonna touch on that in a moment. Is there anybody else who has an opinion they want to share? Go ahead, Sadia.
I want to agree. I also think it should be ambition, only because your character really counts. And if you're not really into what you're doing or you're not giving it your all, then it wouldn't be as good as it would if you was. So if you have a bad attitude about it and you just like, oh, I can do this because I can, and you not, I can do this because I want to and I want to change something, then I feel like it's not the same. So the ambition to do something is overpowering the ability because you have the drive and you have the strive to get what you need to get where you need to be.
Exactly.
So you have the push. You're pushing yourself to go that extra inch rather than just being like, oh, I can do this, so I'm gonna do it.
And really kind of hearing what you said, I think ambition is more of a character developer than ability is, because a lot of people can be really born with that ability, but are they really growing? Are they really using that ability to, in my opinion, to glorify God, to live in what we, believe to be our purpose, right? What do y'all think? I'm gonna ask you specifically. Yes, Yasmin, I'm gonna ask you specifically. Do you think it's more important to have ambition or ability? What you think?
I think it's important to have ambition.
Ambition, okay. And why do you think it's important to have the will to succeed? Why do you think it's important to want to do well?
So mostly so you can get education and learn more.
Okay.
And make sure you study hard so your brain can grow.
Okay.
And you can see what kind of person you really are from the inside, how you learn and grow.
I like that. So, and one of the familiar themes that I'm hearing is the importance of growth. Right, is the importance of like your character kind of intertwined into this idea of ambition, right? And so I often think of my students and I often think of students in Philadelphia. A lot of times we often think of our abilities as concrete things, right? Whether we can run, whether we can jump, play basketball, cook, whatever they are, but there's so many different types of abilities, right? And so when you think of the ability to be compassionate, when you think of the ability to be empathetic, right? Those are things that have direct effect on your character, but unless you want to use those skills, unless you actually are kind of thinking about how you can use them in your life, you're never going to think about your character as actually being a skill, right? And you have to think about how you actually got here, how you're actually sitting on this couch. Which one brought you here, your ability or your ambition?
Ambition.
Your ambition, right? I mean, we met on Instagram, right? And just because y'all wanted to have a voice, because you wanted to do more and make lasting impact in your community. And so it's the ambition that got you to this couch right now. I want to kind of shift gears and really think about and start to offer some advice. But as a teacher, I see a lot of young people often struggle with that idea of ambition, right? Struggle with, how do I navigate the world? How do I navigate class? How do I navigate all these things and still want to do well when I have, people in my class who might not want the best for me, when I'm not even sure my teacher or my parents or all the people in my life want the best for me? So why do you think young people struggle with ambition so much? You want to tackle that?
You butt in with that answer.
Yeah.
Kids in general, they might not understand what it means in the long run to have that drive.
The long run.
Because
okay.
when you say a kid, when you say a kid, I think of like mostly under a teenage, somewhere near teenage. So that's the first 20 years of your life.
Yeah.
You should have a good 50, 60 years of your life.
Yeah.
So if you don't start from the beginning of wanting to succeed and wanting to have that drive to keep pushing, you may never have it. And you can have the skill, you can be the best mathematician, but when you actually become a mathematician and you have deadlines, you may not feel the drive to do those deadlines.
Yeah.
And you may slack off and lose your job because you didn't have that ambition, although you did have the skill to do it.
I keep thinking about this though, and it's kind of frustrating me because I always come back to the why. Like, why does somebody actually want to do well? Right. Like, if you've never seen someone close to you be successful, right, why would you want to strive for success? And so that's really what I want to get to is like, what is keeping young kids from truly striving for that next level? And when I think sometimes I have this skewed view because I don't think this is for everyone, but I do think that, I'm around a demographic of kids sometimes that doesn't necessarily see the next step. And so why is that? And you had kind of touched on it before, but.
Yeah, I was saying it could be the parents or the adults or any older figure that they are close with, and they're technically putting a bug inside of their ear, like, oh yeah, you should do this. Like me and your father we went to college here and did this. And it's like they're trying to find the ambition that you're following and not trying to find their own. And I think it also has something to do with the people they talk to in the community. Because if you see like someone your father say he grew up with and he's out on the street and didn't make nothing of yourself, then you got to think about it like, what if that's me? What if I end up like that?
Yeah.
And you also have to think about the people who you're close with. If they're successful and they want you to be successful, but they're trying to make your success their success, so make you follow in their footsteps and doing something that you don't want to do. So if you have like an aunt or just any, like a coach like you, and they be like, oh yeah, well, I went to school for psychology. And you think like, well, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. And then you're following the footsteps of him trying to major in psychology when you didn't even focus on your own ambition and what you wanted to do.
I got you.
But their ambition is to be successful, and they're trying to follow any other successful paths rather than following what they want to do.
I see. So a lot of times you said it perfectly. So it's more of following people that you've seen do it, and it's more of kind of trying to mimic that success rather than
finding it yourself.
Yes.
They're like the pursuit of happiness.
Exactly, and just using the same maybe tactics or skills or the same things that they did to get to your own goals.
Yeah, because you already have the proof. You see that it worked out for him, so it's just like it can't go wrong for me, rather
Exactly.
than trying.
Exactly. I want to touch to you, Genesis, if you don't mind if I come to you real quick. So, we talked a couple weeks ago just about life, and I always tell my students, your current situation, where you are, is not where you're going. And so I want to ask you, right, thinking about your life and your past, how do you believe, or do you believe that you have the ambition right now to succeed?
I have the ambition to succeed because it doesn't matter like what you've been through in life or who you were raised with. Is the thing, the most important thing is that you could succeed in life, and you could do stuff in life that like probably your parents never went to college.
Yeah.
And you feel like you could do it too, and like you could do it. Like you probably know your teacher went to college, and you want to be like probably want to go to college and not follow like what your parents did. You probably want to do something better.
Exactly. And I think it's interesting, and I always tell people, everyone has a story, and it's really important to speak your truth, right? Because your story can impact somebody else, but you got to own it. And it's also important to recognize, like Genesis just said, where the different types of inspiration can come from. Your parents might provide one area of inspiration or one area of knowledge that you need, but that might not be the end all be all. And so you might have a coach that provides some information. You might have a teacher that provides some information. You might have a friend that provides some information. And so you can gather all that information from a variety of sources and then apply it to your life. And so I think it's really important for us to start to think about where are we getting that information, and that will affect our ambition to do well. If you're putting people around you that are successful, in turn, you'll have successful tendencies, which may make you successful. Like Sadia said, can we really copy exactly what somebody else is doing? We can't do that, but we can kind of lead ourselves in that direction, right? Guys, when we come back, we're going to continue this talk about ambition or ability and really tap into what types of ambition are there, and are we really motivated by things that are within us, our intrinsic motivation, or are we motivated by outside influence, extrinsic motivation? We appreciate you coming back. We'll be back after the break.
Wake each morning and get lost in the adventure, knowing that you will be ready for wherever the day takes you. Learn from those willing to teach. Their wisdom and their strength will become yours. They will impart to you a tradition of education nationally recognized for its value. A tradition worthy of your best efforts. As young men and women of LaSalle, we will invest in you the guidance to blaze your own path. To go forth into the unknown with new certainty. To realize your full potential as professionals, as leaders, as citizens. To take up your place as the accountants, speech therapists, journalists, and CEOs of your generation. To impact this city and the world beyond. These adventures are yours, and you are ready for them. Explorers are never lost.
Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Coach Devin Buchanan, founder and executive director of the Focus Youth Network. The Focus Youth Network is a nonprofit organization that provides educational and recreational activities for youth and their families, centered around three main pillars: wellness and nutrition education, character development, and post-secondary success. We would like to welcome you to attend our third annual Focus Youth Summit, which is occurring on Saturday, May 11th at Temple University for grades 7 through 12. If you're interested, please visit focusyouth.network.org for more information. Welcome back to Youth Uncut, a show that gives youth a voice and provides them an opportunity to discuss things that mean the most to them. Today, we are talking about a very important topic: ambition or ability, the skills you need to be successful in life and really just achieving your dreams. Today, we have a couple new people on our set, and so we just want to introduce our people today, our students. Today, we have Lewis, a 6th grader in Philadelphia. We welcome back Sadia, an 11th grader. We have Kal-El, a 6th grader in Philadelphia, and Javon, an 11th grader in Philadelphia. 11th or 10th grade? 10th grader in Philadelphia, I'm sorry. And again, we are talking about this idea of ambition or ability. But we want to shift our focus for what we're talking about right now and really think about what actually motivates us to be successful. And there's two types of motivation that we're going to talk about today. The first one being intrinsic motivation, or being motivated by things inside of you. And also extrinsic motivation, being motivated by external factors. And so I want to talk to our young people today and really think about what truly motivates you, right? Like when you think about yourself as you move through life, when you think about as you grow older, how are you going to get there? How do you see yourself getting there? And what truly motivates you, right? When I think about my motivation, I think about things like my values, right? And so I want you to think in terms of that, the things that are important to you. So who wants to go first and tackle this question? Javon?
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
honestly, I think I'm more of a intrinsic motivator, and mostly what motivates me is trying to find myself so I can build upon myself and try to get to where my future, how do I explain this? Just find out what's important to me and my values so that I know what to do in my future.
Okay.
And one thing that has really motivated me to get through the peer pressure in school, peer pressure outside of school, all that stuff is my culture.
Okay.
I really think that knowing my culture and knowing your own culture can really help you not only build upon yourself, but find out where you want to go in the future.
Yeah.
And also, I think that's about it. Yeah,
No,
finding myself and my culture.
Absolutely, and to be honest with you, it's not by chance that the Focus Youth Network, Focus stands for Finding Ourselves Creates Unlimited Success, because you truly engage in a lot of different things to give you that insight on who you really are. Is there anyone else who wants to tackle this question of what truly motivates you? Go ahead, Sadia.
So I feel like I'm definitely an intrinsic person, but I'm also an extrinsic person.
Yes.
I feel like you have to have self-motivation before you can get motivated from anyone else. And my self-motivation really comes from me trying to make a better version of myself.
Okay.
So me trying to improve, trying to see what I can improve on. So it's like, if I'm slacking in this, I'm like, you can do better, you can do this. Or if I'm trying to find my passion, I'm like, now which one really gets to you? Which one do you really like? Now it's extrinsic because it's like, it comes from my family as well as my community, because it's like if I see somebody down and who live in paycheck to paycheck and really can't survive, it's really just like, that's pushing me to move on and make a better living for myself.
Yeah.
So I can be like, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I'm gonna make sure I have everything under control. I make sure I have everything in set so
Yeah.
I won't have to live struggling.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
And as well as my family always makes sure I'm in, it's always what I want first, and it's also what I need. So they tell me what I need to hear, and it's like, but if you really want to do this, then you have to consider this. So.
I agree. Anybody else want to tackle this? How are you motivated, Lois?
Mine will be the same as Sadia.
Okay.
Because most of my family, they have gone to college and stuff, but they ended up making the wrong choices.
Okay.
And when it got back to them, they didn't get as much as they were hoping to.
Okay.
And with me, I'm not trying to be how my family was. So I do what I can to get to a good to get to a good high school and college.
Okay. So you're motivated a lot by your family and kind of, and I don't want to say the deficiencies, but some of the things that they maybe had not been able to be successful at, you want to try to be successful at?
Yes.
Good. How do you feel about this, Kal-El? I mean, what motivates you? And I've kind of heard you talk and, you know, and starting to get to learn you. So what motivates you, man?
What motivates me is that I agree with what Louis said. I'm not trying to make the same mistakes my family made. I'm trying to be my own person and not become what they become.
I got you.
Like, I'm trying to be the best I can be. I'm not trying to be perfect, but do better.
Yeah.
I'm the only reason I'm not trying to be like my family, even though they say you should be just like me when I get older.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't want to be like you for what the things you've done. I'm trying to be a better person than what you've been.
I got you. You know, and I think that it's certainly good to be ambitious and to think about, you know, how can I better the situation I've been in? And I think that's important because, you know, in our community, in our society, you know, a lot of times the issues that we have are generational. You know, they follow us from generation to generation because, you know, we have a lot of pride in who we are. And I think that pride is good. Pride is good in your culture and knowing where you come from. But it's also important to know that you have a foundation. And that foundation is just that you can build up from there. But you need to acquire the skills to do that. And so, you know, it's amazing to see young people like you know, go out every day and try to acquire those skills, right? Like I see you, I know that you do rowing, and I know that you're part of a lot of different leadership activities and a lot of things. And so those things are going to equip you with the skills you need to be successful in life. Let's shift this idea from ambition to ability, right? Because I think ability is one of these concrete, and we don't have a lot of time to talk about this, but I think ability is one of these concrete things that, as I said before, kids think either I can or I can't. And if I can't right now, then I probably will never be able to. And so I think it's important for us to really think about, all right, how am I working on my mindset to help remind myself that it's not always about what I can do right now, as long as I can move forward. Okay. Did you want to say something about that, Kal-El?
I understand what you mean. Like people right now, they be doubting themselves. Like little kids right now, they doubt themselves whenever they see like older people do it, and older people are supposed to be a bigger influence on little ones, not to give up.
Yeah. You know, social media, how many of y'all use social media, right? Like I use social media a lot. And so social media is a snapshot of many people's instant success. And so when you're scrolling your timeline, you're seeing the best of everyone's life. And it really can make you feel like you're not moving ahead in your life, or you're not succeeding when you see someone else doing something that you wanted to do, or having success that you're not quite having. And I think that right there hinders people mentally, right? It's not always that instant, oh, well, I see that, I'm just going to give up on my life. But the more and more you continue to watch people succeed or make it look like they're succeeding, the more and more you know, it kind of hurts you mentally in thinking that you can obtain the same thing. And so we're going to finish up right now, but I want you guys to each, you know, take 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds just to share with the people out there watching, what would you say is the most important thing to do for young people in terms of their success? What do you think a young person has to do right now to be successful? And you know, I'm gonna allow Sadia and Javon to take this question real quick. So Sadia, go ahead.
I would say definitely let them follow their passion, because some people really just try to like, oh yeah, you're not ready for this, and try to prepare them for the real world when actually they're crushing their world without knowing it. So let them follow their passion while you're like their backbone. So you're there when they fall, but you can also help them follow their passion and give them what they need.
Okay. I like that. Follow your passion. Javon, finish up for us.
They need to follow their passion. They need to find out who they are so they can find their own values and their own things that they might be interested in. And they need to change their mindset, because a lot of kids in our generation nowadays, they like have sports in mind, like basketball, football, because other kids and other people of their own color and culture are doing it themselves. And once they like change their mindset to get out there and pursue other opportunities, to get to find out who they really are, they really might like football or basketball, but like I think they really need to get out there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I thank you guys very much for being on this episode of Youth Uncut, and thank you for joining us today on this topic of ambition or ability. We'll see you next time.